Welcome to the Women's Money Wisdom Podcast. I'm Melissa Joy, a certified financial planner and the founder of Pearl Planning. My goal is to help you streamline and organize your finances, navigate big money decisions with confidence, and be strategic in order to grow your wealth. As a woman, you work hard for your money, and I'm here to help you make the most of it. Now, let's get into the show. Welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited for this conversation because I actually don't know where it's going to end up. And I have a lot of personal questions for our guest, where I'm thrilled to be joined by Stephanie Stewart. Stephanie is a physician assistant, and she is the founder. She's a founder of the Aesthetic Method, an award-winning medical spa in Detroit, recognized as the best med spa of 2024. After experiencing burnout in the emergency department, she founded her practice in 2018. And we're going to learn all about that career pivot, as well as what brings her passion to this space. And I've got a bunch of questions, just like I said. So without further ado, Stephanie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. We were just talking behind the scenes. And for listeners, I was telling Melissa, this is still very new to me. I feel very humbled every time people ask me to be on a podcast. I'm like, oh, you want to talk to me about what I do? So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm having my own humbled moment, or maybe vulnerable moment, because I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm going to be with Stephanie, who is all about making people look better, I really need to pay attention to hair and makeup that day. But this morning was a quick get ready. And sometimes we just record where we're at. But I would love, as a 51-year-old woman, to eventually in this episode talk about, how to approach a med spa approach versus traditionally visiting the dermatologist or things like that at the traditional doctor's office. But before we go there, can you tell me about, kind of working in the emergency department and what inspired you to take a right turn into where you're at today?
Sure. So I'll go back a little bit further than working in the emergency department because I feel like that's important for what I do now. But when I was 15, I was involved in a car accident that I suffered multiple facial injuries. So I ended up with lots of facial reconstructive surgeries, and it was a very long road. And luckily, all the injury was to my face. But as a 15-year-old girl, that's definitely not what you want to happen. So it was a long road. And what I remember the most is the medical professionals making me have hope and making me feel better about the state that I was in. Nothing was life-threatening, thank goodness, but it was my looks, it was my appearance. And so, unfortunately, when you break your jaw, or I broke my nose, I lost a lot of teeth, those things don't get fixed overnight. It's not like breaking an arm, you put a cast on it and, you wait 6 to 8 weeks. So it was a long road. All that to say, the medical professionals they came in contact with made me feel really good and hopeful, like I was saying. And so I wanted to be able to also make people feel that way. And I decided to go into medicine, specifically physician assistant. I knew I wanted to have a family one day. And I thought that being a doctor would maybe require too long of education. So I decided on PA, and I started working in the emergency department, specifically trauma, to give back to the people that were in those same situations that I once was with a car accident. So I did that for a couple of years, and medicine was definitely not what I thought it was going to be. I was burning out really quickly, and it just wasn't what I was promised. So after burning out for an extended period of time, this was even pre-COVID, I thought, when was I the happiest in my life? And what it was is when I was being creative with my hands. So I thought, okay, let me just start getting certifications in injectables, and I'll go try to apply at a derm office and see if they'll hire me. And they did not. No one hired me. So,
well, can you pause there? So what is the certification? When you say injectables, describe to us in other, what have we heard to reference for that?
Sure. So I'll be honest with you, my field is the wild, wild west. And there is not one certification, one license that you need to do what we do. However, you do need to be a medical provider. So at least in the state of Michigan, you need to be a physician assistant, a nurse, or a nurse practitioner to inject. So I just started dabbling in these certifications and looking back with these certifications, I mean, I was in like a hotel room, like injecting my mom as a practice patient. Like it was not like, or a hotel conference room. It was wild. Um, and that's probably why no one would hire me, right? So it wasn't really official. And so then one day I was like, well, I've been practicing on friends and family, and I thought in my head, like, "Oh, if something bad happens, I don't want them to, like, sue me, so maybe I should, like, make an LLC." This is, like, what my mind was going through, and, I Googled on July 10th, I remember that day very vividly, 2018, how to start my own business, and I had never, ever in a million years thought that I would start my own business. I didn't even like doing it, I didn't even think that it would turn into what it is today. I just thought, "Hey, let this, like, be my side hustle until I figure out what I wanna do with the rest of my life,"
Mhm.
because I had a lot of student loans still. I mean, I went to a PA school, so, um, what started as, like, me renting out a room in a dental office, doing these procedures, maybe having, like, 1 patient a week if I was lucky, turned into a couple patients a week, and then I hired an assistant, and then I worked more days, and then COVID happened, and we were shut down for 12
Mm.
weeks, and then when we were able to come back because we were medical, um, my business blew up. I mean, everybody was on Zoom. I thank Zoom so much for, the
You get to
success of
look
our
at
business.
yourself.
Yeah, and, it blew up, and so we were so busy, so booked out, and then I hired another injector. We actually ended up building out our own space where we had 6 treatment rooms, and then here we are almost 8 years later, and we're in our new location, which is like 4,500 square feet. It's beautiful, I can say that because the design team killed it, and we're a team of, 10 now, hiring 2 more people, and it's going well, so here we are.
That's amazing. My company's birth story is very closely aligned
Yeah.
with yours from dates. So I started the company in August of 2018. So kind of
Oh,
just like, hey, let's see if this works because I know I can go back and get a job. You probably knew you could
yeah,
go back to the
for
ER
sure.
too.
Yes, didn't want to, but yes, we always had something to fall back on, and, I just looked this up today. Congratulations to you for making it 8 years because, more than 50% of businesses do not, succeed past 5, small businesses.
So true. Yeah, and I think especially for women, if we're talking about that, I'm sure you've had a lot of lessons along the way,
Yeah.
in scaling and growing and investing in yourself. Days
Mhm.
where you look like so successful. I'm speaking for myself, but days
Yeah.
you look so successful on the outside and you're like, we're barely breaking even right now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
other days where you're like, oh my gosh, it's all clicking.
Mhm.
The entrepreneur's journey is not for the lighthearted, but for certain people, it is so rewarding as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been really rewarding not only for my patients, but for a team or a team of all women, and, that is probably, like, the thing that, like, motivates me the most is being able to create such an amazing work environment for women who have the same passion as me and want to make other women feel good about themselves. Not that we only treat women, we treat every demographic, but that is our main one. And so we have little to no turnover in our team, and it's been great, like being able to provide an amazing career for other women because I never had that. I mean, they're not looking for you to like love your life in the ER. You just have to save other lives. So
Mm, so true, and, I'm in this moment too very similar where just things seem to be clicking, they feel right,
mhm.
and having those good vibes across a team are can be so powerful as
Yeah,
well, so congratulations on that achievement.
yeah, thank
Um
you.
So I knew we were going to be having this conversation. It's been on the calendar for a minute, and I recently saw a financial advisor's post talking about how women's aesthetic needs are
Mhm,
neglected. I wanted
mhm,
to read a part of it to you because it just was spot on. I screenshotted it right away, and I think we need to elevate conversations of like seeing being more inclusive to the
mhm,
needs or preferences of
mhm,
everyone. So she said, this is Teresa J.W. Bailey. I'm going to have to make sure that we shout her out when we do the podcast. There's a line item missing from almost every woman I know's financial plan, and I'm wearing it in this photo. And it may not be a very flattering photo, but it's an honest one. Skincare is costly, both in dollars and recovery time. It's also sometimes very painful. Some women choose not to spend the dollars and age naturally. Some women squirrel away secret dollars and from the household because the spend is emotional and feels private. Some women pretend to be on vacation when they are really out of the office recovering from a treatment because their face looks like a Cabbage Patch doll. Some people want to plan for a facelift, but they don't even think to talk to their financial advisor about the cost and recovery time and maybe even needing to pay for help during that time. Let's change that. So I know you're
I
not
love
doing
that.
plastic surgery,
Sure.
you're doing, but I think it fits in
Yeah.
what some people would consider elective and other people would consider a necessity. And there's no
Mhm.
shame either way. I don't think, except for saying that each person gets to make their own decisions, but
Yeah,
we should be part of the conversation. I just wanted
absolutely.
to take a minute to reflect on that.
Yeah, there's so many things about that. First of all, who is this woman? Let's, invite her to my med spa to talk about this to all my patients.
Yes.
And I see it across the board. I see what you were saying in terms of, it's secret money or they did budget for it, or um, a common one is that they tell their boss they're at a doctor's appointment and they're not really lying, right? Like they are coming to a medical practice. So I see it across the board, but I just think it's so amazing that we're having these conversations now. We're like starting to introduce this talk around it with financial planning because that means we've done something right over the years as females. Like we're always making more room for us at the table.
Mhm.
And I'm really passionate about women owned businesses and women's rights. And so just even the fact that that was posted is pretty cool. So in
And it's
regards to
really
what I
brave
do,
to
yeah.
share.
Yeah.
I think it's important though and helpful. Like when my friends talk about work that they do, skincare, plastic surgery, aesthetics, then
Mhm.
I always am curious. I have
Yeah.
questions and I think, certain generations don't talk about those types of things and
Mhm.
bringing it into the open can be really valuable to, just be a little more real and
Yeah.
authentic and help educate each other.
Right. We really place a huge emphasis on educating our patients on social media. That's probably like the biggest place that people find us. And the reason being is because we want to rid the stigma that, these aren't hidden procedures that people are doing anymore. Like I guarantee you, if you're listening to this podcast, either you get something done at a med spa or your friend does. And yeah, I think it's just very popular now, and we want to rid the stigma. We want to educate our patients. And the one thing that we really emphasize when people are here for the first time, they get a full face consult. We have kind of two paths of our business. So we have an injectable path, which is our medical providers, and then we have a skincare path. So that's our lasers, our facials, our waxing, stuff like that, peels. So we have like two areas of experts that you would see. And the thing that we really feel is important is we're always upfront about the cost. Like we are not hiding these costs from people. We are, hey, we recommend this and this is your cost. And if you're not ready to spend that right now, that's okay. But I think people go into this thinking, oh my God, I'm going to spend so much money. And it's really not the case. And yes, is this a luxury service? Absolutely. Like this is not a necessity. People don't need this to survive. I'm very grateful that I'm in a field that I can see people that want to be in my office versus when I was in the emergency department. Um, but yeah,
Mhm.
we're really upfront about costs. And I think that has really helped because patients then tell their friends, like, hey, it actually wasn't as much as I thought it was. Or, you know what, they gave me a price, but I can't afford it right now. So I'm going to save up for it. But at least I know, at least there's transparency there. So we've done really well with that being our method.
I love that. So if someone schedules a consultation,
Mhm.
tell us about the process. Like, what are
Yeah.
you looking at to help
Mhm.
assess what types of services someone might like to invest in?
Sure. So even though I own the practice and I started it from the ground up, I do not claim to be the skincare expert. That is where my estheticians come from. I've really, I've really invested in their education to be the experts. So I'm the expert in the injectables. But
Mhm.
when a patient comes in, we call it a full face assessment, and we talk about their goals. And then we go over a couple of buckets of things because every modality we offer plays a different part in anti aging. So it's not like you just come in and get Botox and that's your answer.
Mhm.
There's lots of different layers to it and things that treat different parts of aging. So we'll walk through all these, we'll explain them. The big ones are neuromodulators, or a fancy word for Botox. um,
Okay.
Something called Sculptra, which is a biostimulating agent, keeps everything nice and tight and lifted, and then filler. And filler gets a bad rap, but the way we use it is not only tasteful, but it's not detectable. And I
And
always
what
use this
parts of your, face would
all of
the
all of it.
filler? Okay.
So that's the thing. Like when you put a little bit everywhere, it's undetectable. When you put a lot in one area, that's when you notice that people have work done. And I will say 99% of my patients do not want people to notice that they've had something done. And I tell them if they do notice it, then I've done a bad job. I haven't done my job responsibly or ethically to you. And what I think is really important for people to know that are interested or getting this done already is that you've never seen good filler. And well, you probably have, but you don't know it's filler because it's done well. But you've
Mhm.
noticed the bad filler, and that's the difference, right? So, um, yeah, we walk through their whole face and we'll come up with the plan, either, treatment same day. Usually people like get their toes a little wet with Botox because it's a little bit less invasive and they don't feel so committed to it. It's like, okay, it's temporary. And then and then we come up with a plan. They book their appointments. And they like that. They like knowing what's going to take place at 6 months, a year from now, and what to keep doing if they want to keep the anti-aging services going. So that's my side of things, and then the estheticians talk about lasers and skincare, and any services that they think would be um, helpful. There is this really cool device that we have. It's called the Visia machine, and it scans your face at a cellular level, and it tells you your true skin age. So some people want
Oh,
to know that, some
yikes.
people don't. I mean, I'll
I
admit
might
my
be
skin
willing to
age is
find out,
older.
but
Yeah. So that's kind of how we treat like
does
our
anybody come in
consultation.
younger, though?
Absolutely. A
Really?
bunch. Yes, absolutely.
I love that.
And I'll tell you their secret is that they've been using sunscreen. So,
Makes sense.
yes, it does.
So
Who would have thought, you know?
shocking.
I know.
Um, and so backing up for a minute, when people say what their goals are, I'm
Yep.
assuming the number one request, say this as, like I said before, a 51-year-old
Yeah.
old is aging, you're starting to see the effects of aging, and how do we
Yeah.
slow it down or reverse the clock?
Yeah.
What are some of the
Um,
others?
yeah, I think a lot like probably my favorite patients are my new mom patients.
Mm,
You can't get these services when you're pregnant. Sometimes you can get them when you're breastfeeding, depends what they are. But I have a lot of new mom clients. And so I'll see them before they get pregnant. And then I won't see them for like 10 months. I'll be like, oh, and I kind of know, like, okay, they
mm.
probably were pregnant, had a baby. And um, as a mom myself, I know how much you give and how much you forget about your own well-being, and not even looks. I mean, just like your well-being, your happiness, and taking care of you.
Your
So,
focus. Yeah.
yeah, I love seeing moms come in that they haven't done anything for themselves in a very long time, and it doesn't even matter what they're getting. They're just happy to be here and be away from like their new baby for even the first time, and have driven to our office alone in the car. And so, being a newer mom myself to two young kids, I really like. I think that's really cool. I think that's really cool that that's a big demographic of ours.
I love that.
Yeah.
What age cohorts are using your services? Is it
Yeah.
limited to any, like, is there a minimum age
No.
or
No.
max?
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I will say, I don't treat anyone less than 18, just legally,
makes
but it's
sense.
very rarely do I see patients less than early 20s.
Mhm.
Um, On my side, on the injectable side, I do know that the skincare side sees, more younger patients. I think, social media has been on my side for the business, and that people are filming their skincare routines on TikTok, and that has helped this be more approachable for younger people too. But the millennials, they're coming in and they are getting pretty much
They
everything we
beat my
offer.
Gen Xers too
Yep.
in many
Yep.
cases, probably, percentage of use, I would have
Yeah.
to assume, and definitely starting age, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, a maximum age, I do have very old clients, and we have the conversation where like, I don't really think what I'm doing is actually improving a wrinkle, But what it is improving is you still feeling good about yourself, and they know
Mm.
that, and they're willing to pay money on that because there's no price tag, right? Like, it makes them feel good, and I'm happy to treat them as long as they have the proper expectations, so
That's great. You talked about your transparency when it comes to cost, and I love that.
mhm.
What could people I'm sure there are ranges, but, what are typical, like, amounts of
Sure.
budget or investment that are needed?
Yeah, so, before I go into that, I will say I think it's important to know how long these things last because things that are
Mm,
cheaper don't last as long. So things like neuromodulators, fancy word for Botox, you can expect 3 to 4 months, and I would say the average cost is $500 to $600 every treatment.
okay.
And that's treating their full face. So patients listening to this that have gotten Botox, maybe they've only treated their mean 11s, and that's actually when you start looking unnatural because when your face, when I'm talking to you, maybe not now, my Botox is very fresh, but I'm usually using multiple muscles. So when we treat just one muscle group, the other muscles have to compensate, and so it starts to
Mm,
look a little weird. So that's a full face of Botox, should last you 3 or 4 months. Something like biostimulators is dependent on your age, and that's something we call Sculptra. It grows your own collagen elasticity, and that will last you up to 2 years. But again, we're talking, there's a big difference on your age range. So if you're in your young 30s, you're looking at $800. If you're in your mid 50s, you're looking at like $3,500.
mhm.
So it just depends on where you are in your aging process of how much it's going to be. In terms of filler, so usually I'll give you like our main demographic, I would say is like later 30s, they're probably
Mhm.
spending about $2,000 on filler, and that's for their whole face. That's looking very natural, and it's going to last them about a year and a half. So that's why I think it's important to talk about longevity with these things, is because obviously Sculptra and filler is more expensive, but that's because it lasts longer too. So
Got it.
yeah,
And then I guess this is getting into some of it. You're
yeah,
consulting with people and saying,
mhm,
"Hey, here's what your expectations should be. This is how this
yes,
works."
hmm,
Educating along the way, consulting. What are some red flags, green flags and
hmm,
red flags
yeah,
when you're assessing, you're located in Metro Detroit if our
yeah,
listener is in another state,
hmm,
what should you be looking for to assess the capabilities of because
yeah,
we both work in trust professions
yeah,
where you
yeah. You
really
trust us.
you're trusting your body and your wallet
Hmm.
and your investment accounts to the professional.
Yeah.
So tell us a little more about that.
Sure. So I don't think there's any harm. So I'm going to talk from the consumer side. So as a consumer, I don't think there's any harm in not only seeing multiple providers before you decide on which one is going to be your go-to. Know that that might come with some consultation costs, right? But
Hmm.
I think there's no harm in. I don't want to say shopping around because I feel like that gives like a bad connotation, but I don't feel like there's anything wrong seeing a couple different injectors and finding which one works best for you. The other
Got it.
thing is that, obviously, they should be a medical professional, that's a given, but they should look normal. So, if they do not look normal or you're not going for that look, it's probably not the right fit because what they've done to themselves is probably what their method is, what their injection style is, and so, I would veer from that. And then always ask for before and afters. I don't follow too many accounts. I get some imposter syndrome, but on social media, I'll notice that some accounts don't have before and afters. It's a lot of like stock
Mm,
images, or maybe they're just posting their location, which is fine. Like we mix that in too. But the before and afters, like you have to know what to expect. You have to see their work. It's their portfolio, right? So I think that's good to ask questions. Some of my best patients, they come in, they've done some research, and they'll be like, "Do you have a picture of that? Do you have a before and after?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do. I have a whole album, whole photo album of everything that we've done and that people could ask to see." So I think that's important. With that being said, I didn't always have that. It took me, a long time to get here and some experience. The last thing I'll say is that I think admitting that you're continuously learning is admirable and someone that I would want to go to because
mhm.
I know that they're serious about their education and investing in it and not just staying with like the old trends or the old research. So I've had patients for 8 years, and what I did to them 8 years ago, I'm not doing to them now because I've grown and I've learned, and there's so much more research coming out about our industry. And so my patients that trusted me 8 years ago, they're still trusting me because I'm like, hey, we did that before, but like, I don't think that looks good anymore. That's not really like what's best for you. Let's change it to this. And I think they like really respect that. So those are some tips I would say as a consumer.
Wow, that really, resonates with me as well. We probably both work in fields where there's been a lot of change
Mhm.
over the
Yeah.
years, learning, and, it can be there are providers that do the same thing always, and there
Mhm.
are at least in my field,
Yeah.
in
Same.
financial planning, and there are also people where, you're changing with the times, and not just for the sake of change or for a sales purpose, but
Yeah.
because, in a modernizing world and things are, um, changing so quickly, and
Mhm.
we focus a lot on what's negative when it comes to change, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of really positive, opportunities to improve the
Mhm.
services we deliver, so I just admire that perspective from
Thank
you,
you.
Stephanie.
Thanks.
Um, I would just mention too, so when you talk to people, have you learned any tips or tricks? I guess, like, I wanna leave a little space here at the end of the episode to just encourage people to have more, transparent conversations with the people that, matter, whether it's, if you make shared financial decisions in a
Mhm.
family,
Yeah.
they could listen to this episode, for example,
Yeah.
and or, like, as a wealth management practitioner, I would welcome my clients saying, "Hey, I would love it if
Mhm.
you told me I could afford to work with someone like Stephanie."
Yeah.
So, first of all, if you don't feel like you have working with a professional that would welcome
Mhm.
that conversation. I
Yeah.
think it's important, it's important to consider that because this, for
Right.
some people, can be a really important part of their life and how they feel like themselves in their own skin. And I just would encourage you to have more transparent conversations. I don't know if you have any experiences or anything you would
Oh,
add
yeah.
there, but
No, I mean, I encourage my female patients to bring their male partners to the appointment if they're nervous about how their significant other is going to look. And honestly, a lot of my female patients that have male partners have brought their partners in, and men listen to me. Like they stay on their regimen. They're like every 3 months religiously they are getting their Botox, and because they've seen like, oh, you can still look normal and no one's going to know that I've done this, and so I encourage it's mostly males, and I don't mean to be like condescending to that, but I feel like they see a lot of bad filler. People have huge lips and they're not tasteful and or bad Botox, and that's the only thing they know about my industry. So I would say like, be open to it. Go with your partner to the appointment, see what it's all about. And I will also say a lot of so we have all female staff, and a lot of our partners were very weary about us doing this the first time. So when we have new team members, you always know like their partners like, oh God, I'm nervous about what they're going to look like working there.
Mhm.
But like most of them get it now. Like most of them are in here for treatment all the time too. So I would just be like open and honest with your partner about what matters to you. Um, and if it is within the budget, I think it's just as important as, my husband, for example, he plays golf every Thursday, and that's his budget. That's his fun money. And if I didn't work here, this would probably be my fun money too. So I think it's just good to have open conversations about what matters to you, regardless of if it's aesthetics or not.
Yeah, and one person's necessity is another person's discretionary,
Yeah.
spending,
Yeah.
and as a financial planner, I love to say yes to people if it is a fit and doable with the money. If
Yeah.
not, I am professionally obligated to say, "I really would love for you to be able to do that, but I'm concerned and here's why."
Yeah.
But, having conversations about things that, might not just be on the initial questionnaire at a typical, investment only planner,
Yeah.
to me is financial planning done right. So,
Yeah, no, I think that's amazing that you do that. I think it's amazing that you're opening this conversation for women or men to talk about it. Um, yeah, I think it's great. And you said something like, "Oh, it's, my profession." my professional responsibility to say, no, this doesn't work within your budget. And I feel like it's my professional responsibility to tell people, no, I don't think this is worth you doing. Save your money, and I think that's another tip I would say to the consumer, is look for someone who's willing to say no. I say no all the time, all the time. I say no more than I say yes. And I think that means that not only their business is successful, but they're really looking out for you.
I love that. And there's a standard of care that you can choose to embrace, whether it's medical professional, financial professional,
Yeah.
that really is an honor of not just doing a job, but having a career in professionalism
Mhm.
that brings exactly what you said in terms of your why, brings you back to the best part of your job and profession. So
Yeah.
keep it up, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Where
I
can
appreciate
people
it.
find you if
Sure.
they're curious about learning more and following you?
Yeah. So our most robust marketing is where millennials go, and that's Instagram. It's called
Yes.
The Aesthetic Method with an A. Our website is theaestheticmethod.com. We're also on TikTok. I'm trying to get better with that. And then I really invite people to come see our new location. It is stunning. Our designers absolutely crushed it. Our contractors were amazing. And it's located on Troy Street in Ferndale, right next to One Eyed Buddies, if you're familiar. So come on, stop by, buy some skincare, just come look, take pictures. It's really cool. I'm very proud of it.
Congratulations on the new
Thank
location.
you.
I may have to stop by.
Yes, please do.
Thanks so much, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to the Women's Money Wisdom podcast. If you found value in this episode, the best way that you can support the podcast is to forward an episode to a friend or leave a review. Go to proplan.com and the podcast link to get all the resources and links mentioned. This presentation by Pearl Planning is intended for general information purposes only. No portion of this presentation serves as a receipt of or a substitute for personal investment advice from Pearl Planning or any other investment professional of your choosing. Copies of Pearl Planning's current written disclosure brochure and Form CRS discussing our advisory services and fees are available upon request or on our website platform at pearlplan.com. The information that we share is meant to educate and inspire, not serve as personalized financial advice. Everyone's situation is unique, so be sure to consult with your own financial professional for guidance that fits your life. And just so you know, the opinions shared in this podcast are Melissa's own and those of her guests. They don't necessarily represent any organizations with which Melissa is affiliated. For more important disclosures, please go to our webpage at pearlplan.com.